all the inspiration that you've gotten over the last several days and put it into action. And so, if we're going to start this off properly, the question that I have for you is why are you not more successful than you are right now?
I mean,
let's face it, you guys are doing fantastic. But individually, you know that you could be more successful than you are right now. So what is it that's stopping you? What's holding you back from realizing your true potential? And when I often ask that question, the answer that I hear back is a myth. It isn't what's really holding people back and keeping them from realizing their true potential. And so what I want to do is to uncover what those things really are and open the floodgates to what's really possible and what is your real potential inside. So now, first off, let me ask you, how many people here had a very nice, normal, and happy childhood? Can I see your hands? Wow. Most of you.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what, good for you. Okay, because my childhood sucked. My parents divorced when I was only 18 months old, and when they divorced, my mother didn't want me. She just kind of shoved me onto my father. As a matter of fact, when she first found out that she was pregnant with me from the doctor, her response to the news was anger and then disappointment. And so when they divorced, she just enthusiastically handed me over to my father. And you have to understand, my dad was only 23 years of age at the time. He didn't know what the hell to do with me either. He had just moved from the San Francisco Bay Area to what seemed like the middle of nowhere, Albuquerque, New Mexico, to take a job as an overworked, underpaid university football coach. And so it was just he out there by himself with this toddler, with him trying to figure it out. And so this was my dad's parenting strategy. He would just shove me in the corner of the couch, barricade me with pillows to try to keep me in, and put headphones on my head to try to keep me quiet. And you can see the stunned look I had on my face. I had that pretty much most of my childhood under his parenting. In fact, you kind of figured out real quickly that it was a bit of survival of the fittest. You had to fend for yourself a little bit around his household. And my dad, he parented like he coached football, which meant that there was no whining, no crying, no excuses, lots of yelling, and lots of cursing. In fact, y'all remember the movie Full Metal Jacket? Okay, well, my dad's twin could have been Sergeant Gunnery. And he was infamous for one of his coaching philosophies, and that was no matter how hurt a player got on the field, during the game, they were not allowed to come out of the game. Well, one time this linebacker just gets smashed in the middle of the field, wobbles to the sideline, begs my dad to take him out of the game. My dad grabs him by the face mask, teeth clenched, spitting through it, veins ripping. Not unless you're showing bone. And he pulled back his shoulder pad, and out from his neck skin sticking his collarbone. So anytime I ever got sick and asked my dad if I could stay home from school, he'd yell from the other side of the house, what? Not unless you're showing bone. And I'd have to take my sorry butt out to school. Well, when I was age 4, my dad married my stepmonster. Yeah, no, I did not mispronounce that. And they went on to have 2 other children. And because in her eyes, I was the one of the other woman, she did everything she could to try to ostracize me from the family at every turn. So I really was literally a redheaded stepchild. And you can see that my dad, to save money, cut my hair himself, which I think I suffer more emotional trauma from than anything throughout my childhood. Now, I tell you that because the only reason that I get the honor and privilege to stand before you today as a very high-functioning achiever is precisely because of this very dysfunctional childhood. You see, a lot of people, they look at their past as wounds that they need to heal from, when in actuality, these are the muscles that you've built that allow you to go on and do extraordinary things that ordinary people can't do. You see, your adversity is your advantage. I mean, come on, Beachbody, you know how to build a muscle, right? You put it under incredible stress and strength. And when you're doing, you're actually tearing the muscle. And then in rest and recovery, it grows back bigger than it was before. So now you're able to lift heavier objects than you could have before, precisely because of that stress and strain that you put on the muscle. So the first message that I have for you is, I hope your childhood did suck. Or, I hope that something up to this point has sucked for you, that you've experienced some sort of setback, some failure, that you've been knocked down on your tush, staring up at the sky. Because that is the muscle development that will allow you to go on from this point forward and do extraordinary things like the people that you've seen and the stories that you've heard right here on this stage. But you have to look at the past as adversities that give you an advantage and not a wound. So I'm here to try to help ignite the principles of the compound effect into your life. If you've heard of, if you've read, we want to take that a little bit further and ignite those principles into your life so that we can jumpstart your income, jumpstart your success, and jumpstart your life. Now, when I sat down to write the compound effect, you have to understand, I had no intention of writing an international best-selling book. I had just taken over as publisher of Success Magazine, and now I'm at the centerpiece of the entire personal development, human achievement industry, so I had to go out and figure out what is stopping people? What's holding people back from realizing their sincere desires and dreams to do better for themselves and provide more for their family? And the more that I started looking at our culture and society, the more mad and angry I became, because we're constantly bombarded with ever-increasingly sensational claims to get rich, get fit, get younger, get sexier, all overnight, with very little effort for only 3 payments of $39.95. And these marketing gimmickry messages are taking people of a sincere interest and bamboozling them, tricking them, and taking them for fools. And so I wanted to clear the truth, demystify the truth, clear the clutter, and bring us back to what are those core principles of success that every great success has been built on top of. Because here's the reality. There is no silver bullet. There is no magic pill. And for God's sakes, people, there is no freaking secret that's been buried for 2,000 years by some covert society that's only been unearthed recently by some Australian on a beach. That worldwide revelation says that now you can just sit on your couch and just imagine checks coming into your mailbox. As my dad would say, are you shitting me? You do that and they will come and take your couch. And you off to a safe place where you can't injure yourself or others. There is no secret. Here's what it comes down to. You want to know what it takes? Everybody's asking the question. How do you get on the stage? How do you succeed as a Beachbody coach? How do you build a thriving network? Here's what it comes down to. Here is the secret that I think we've lost for the last 30 to 40 years. It all comes down to hard freaking work. There's no other way around it. It's a gauntlet of hard freaking work. Here's the truth. If you want the truth about the process of earning success, what this really looks like, regardless of what you see on Instagram and Facebook and what everybody else is posting, here's the real process of earning success. It's mundane. What you gotta do when you go back on Monday to start building your Beachbody business, that process day in and day out is mundane. You need to learn to master the mundane. It is also unexciting. No matter how fantastic Shanti makes that infomercial out, when you're in your own gym or you're in your living room and you push play, I'm telling you, it's not exciting. You've got to be what makes it exciting. It's unsexy. It can be laborious, oftentimes freaking frustrating, if not downright gut-kickingly, heart-stompingly defeating. But hey, that doesn't make for interesting books, riveting infomercials, or exciting movies. So that's what we're paraded with as the pathway to success, tantalized with and trying to be sold. So the first key point here, you have to understand, I know that you want the shortcut, I know you want the Cliff Note version, I know you want the secret formula. Stop looking for the quick fix to success, your health, your income. One of the things I love about Beachbody is you don't make any qualms about it. It's hardcore. It's intense. You got to do and put in the work. But when it comes to your personal success, stop also looking for the quick fix. It's hard freaking work. Success is earned one day at a time. Every day you lift your head up off the pillow. You are going to determine that day if you are a success or you are a failure. It is one step at a time. Every step that you take from that bed, you're either walking towards success or you're walking towards failure. It is one decision at a time. It's kind of like every morning you get a marble slab, and every decision that you make throughout the day is you're making hundreds of decisions. You're taking a chisel and you're hitting the chisel mark on that marble slab. And at the end of the day, you either end up with the magnificent David or you end up with a pile of rubble. It is one phone call at a time. You know that phone call that you should make, that you need to make, that you want to make, but it makes your palms sweat and a little queasy inside? Every one of those phone calls is a defining moment for your success. One meeting at a time. Oh, I got to go to another meeting, another conference call. Every one of those, maybe the decision to be or not to be here, is a defining moment for your success. And ultimately, you can never own success. A lot of you people here, you're successful, and I am the first one in the front row to congratulate your success. But I have a huge warning for you. You never arrive. The horizon just keeps pushing. No matter how fast you run at the horizon, you never own success. You only rent it. And the rent is due every single day. Now, how many of you have ever been to a seminar, personal development, or personal development book, or a CD, and on the back of it, it promised transformational results in 90 days or less? And at the end of 90 days, you did not have transformational results. Anybody else but me have that experience? Well, what happened? Well, see, it isn't what you know that determines the results in your life.
It's what you implement.
You see, that's a misnomer. It's an American myth. Knowledge is not power. Knowledge is not power. It's the potential of power, but it is not power in and of itself. What you know doesn't mean squat to your results. It's only what you do with what you know that determine the results in your life. You see, there are a lot of broke geniuses in our society. People who know a lot of stuff, apply very little of it, and have no results in their life. If you ever wondered, just turn on CNN or MSNBC or Fox and Friends. Lots of experts know a lot of stuff and have miserable results in their life. Or how about this one here? 44% of doctors, they go to school and they prescribe how you need to eat better and exercise more, but 44% of them are overweight or obese. Or as the philosopher Morpheus said, there's a difference between knowing the path and walking the path. So as I reveal these core fundamentals of what it takes to really succeed, what I don't want to have happen inside your head is this. Oh, I already know that. Instead, I want you to ask yourself 3 questions. You ready? Number 1 is, am I doing it? Because you might know it, but are you doing it? The second question is, it's okay, maybe you're doing it, but have I mastered it? Maybe there's a little bit of a dial turn here that releases the floodgates of how I do it. And then the third, really the most important question for you here is, would my results prove that I've mastered these principles of success? Would my waistline prove that I've mastered these principles of success? Would my business and bank account prove that I've mastered these principles of success? Would the intimacy of the relationships that are important in my life prove that I've mastered these principles of success? If the answer is, well, maybe not, then there's still something here yet to learn. One of my most favorite quotes is this: people need to be reminded more often than they need to be instructed. And so if we just take something that you already know in the back of your mind, and we clear the clutter of all the noise that you've got going on, and we bring those principles to the front of your mind, and lay out a stepping stone pathway for you to just take one foot in front of the other, then we can ignite those principles in your life and truly see the transformation that you desire. What I'm going to give you here in the next several minutes is the operating system underneath which all success is built on top of. No matter what it is that you're doing in life, this is the operating system underneath it. It's kind of like you can take the world's greatest software designed by the best engineers in the world. Tens of millions of dollars have gone into it. But if you install that software on a computer that has a faulty operating system, what's going to happen? Yeah, it's going to be buggy, it's going to crash, it's not going to operate to its potential. Now, a lot of times the user of the computer goes, oh, it's crappy software. No, it's just installed on a crappy operating system. Well, see, this is what happens when people go to the seminar crappy CD program. No. It was just installed on a crappy operating system, meaning you. So what we have to do first and foremost, before we have you take off this head full of ideas and this heart full of passion that you've gotten over the last several days, in order to make it work in your life, we've got to rewire your operating system and bring it to world-class standards. Because if we can make your operating system world-class, then on top of it, we can install the leadership software, the Team Beachbody Coach Network Expansion software, the parenting software, the marriage software, the fitness software. Because as you heard here, you can have a transformation on the outside, but if it doesn't have a transformation from the inside, it will all be for naught, or all will be temporary. So this is that operating system we're going to rewire for you. Here's my goal. I want to lay out a system for you that over the next 12 to 18 months, if you follow it, will help you achieve dreams that you were too scared to set for yourself when you walked in here this morning. Now, why would you be scared to set the kind of goals that you're really capable of? I mean, if you could look down from your Creator's point of view, what you've achieved so far, it's a fraction of what you're truly capable of. Why aren't you setting the kind of goals that match your capability? Why are you scared? And I think it's because if you can't see a way to achieve it, then it just sort of seems silly. But I believe that if you can see an actual process, a stepping stone pathway, you'll be empowered to do the simple fundamentals it takes to ignite these principles in your life. And ultimately, what I have happen is whatever, I want the light bulbs to turn on for a few of you here in this room. And 6, 12, 18 months from now, I want you to find me. And I want you to say how unrecognizable who you are, what you've become, because of something that it is that we've discussed and discovered here today. That's my goal. So what we're going to do is we're going to lay out this operating system. Code line by code line, we're going to rebuild this operating system. So no matter where you are right now, and whatever it is that you want to achieve, you want to get yourself on stage here, you want to win the Team Cup competition, you want to buy a new home, a new car, you want to fund your kids' college fund, that's over there. And code line by code line, we're going to help you rewire the operating system necessary to get to the other side. So let's start with the root control factor. What is the one thing that determines all the results in your life? If you're to bring it down to just one thing, the root control factor. Because here's the bottom line. I don't care what size, shape, color, creed, where you were born. We all come into this world exactly the same. Exactly the same. Naked, scared, and ignorant. I mean, some of us a little uglier than others. You saw my baby photo. It didn't start out pretty, right? But we all come in exactly the same. Naked, scared, and ignorant. And then after that grand entrance, there's only one thing that's going to dictate all the results in your life. Your entire life outcome is going to come down to one thing. What's that one thing? The one thing that's going to determine whether you end up living here or whether you end up living here. We all come in naked, scared, and ignorant, but one thing's going to determine whether you end up driving this or whether you end up driving this. Only one thing will determine whether at the end of a long life you end up broke, despondent, and lonely, or you end up in a marriage of 50 plus years of incredible intimacy and bliss. There's only one thing that will determine whether you get to send your children or grandchildren to the greatest universities in the world, or no matter what it is that they qualified for, they can't go because you can't afford to send them. Only one thing will determine whether you get to donate to your charitable cause, to your greatest heart content, or whether you get to travel in 5-star luxury every time you go abroad. As Curly from City Slicker said, in life it all comes down to this one thing. Well, what's the one thing? Well, it's a damn good thing I came here today. Your whole freaking life's coming down to one thing and you don't know what that is? Here's what it comes down to. It all comes down to choices. Right now, as you sit there in that chair, your whole life is nothing but the accumulated compound effect of those choices up to this moment. You realize that? You came in naked, scared, and ignorant, and then nothing but choices determines where you are at this moment. Your waistline right now is nothing but the accumulated compound effect of the choices you've made up to this moment. Your bank account The intimacy that you have or don't have in your relationships right now is nothing but the accumulated compound effect of the choices you've made up to this moment. So if we're going to change the trajectory of your life from this point forward, we've got to go where the root control factor is, and that all comes down to choices. Choices is the first line of code in rewiring your operating system to world-class standards. Now you might be asking, okay, well, what choices? Because every day, we're faced with hundreds of choices throughout the day. What choices seem to matter? And this is where people get it wrong. How many people here have ever been bitten by an elephant? Well, how about a mosquito? Anybody ever been bitten by a mosquito? You see, nature provides clues. It's the little things in life that will bite you. By the way, you're looking at man's greatest predator. The greatest threat to humanity is that mosquito. That's what will kill you. It's the little things in life that will kill you. It's not the big choices in life, it's the little choices in life that will kill your potential and stifle your success. So as Paul described, I get asked all the time, how do these people get on the cover of Success magazine? 7 billion people on the planet, we only got a chance to pick 12. How did they get to the cover? What made the difference? Well, I'm going to give you the answer. What those 12 people did year over year to get to the cover versus the other 7 billion people. First off, I want to tell you what it wasn't. Because this is what people think it is. This is what they go out there to do, to think this is how you get to the cover. Success is not a result of any heroic feats. Those people didn't do anything heroic. And it isn't because of some grand act of bravery. There's another American myth. Do not leap and think that you're going to grow wings on the way down. What happens is you splat when we got to clean up the sidewalk. Nobody performed any grand act of bravery. And it wasn't any quantum leap. This overnight success story doesn't exist. Behind that overnight success story is years of arduous, mundane, laborious, heartbreaking, defeating effort and work. Here's what it is the answer of. How did these 12 rise above 7 billion people? How are you going to do it? How are you going to get to the top of the Beachbody Team Coach Network? Here's the answer. Success is the result of small, seemingly insignificant, moment-to-moment choices. Now, see, people have a hard time getting their head around that. Because you're looking for some sort of whiz-bang, say this one thing on social media and all of a sudden your follower is going to blow up. Small, seemingly insignificant moment-to-moment choices. Choices like, you go to a restaurant, and when you go to a restaurant, you're presented with a menu. Well, what's a menu? It's just a list of choices. So, do you pick the hamburger and fries, or do you pick the salad? Now you're going, well, that doesn't seem like a Success magazine cover-worthy choice. I'm telling you, it is. Small, seemingly insignificant choices like, you've had a hard day, you're tired, you're exhausted, you just don't feel like working out today. Do you push play and do the workout anyway, or do you just go home and catch your favorite sitcom, The Voice, and watch other people living out their dreams? Small little choices like, in the heat of an argument, do you just walk out of the room and say, I'm tired of talking about this, and just leave? Or do you spin on your heel, say you're sorry even though you don't think it's your fault, and make a moment of magic? Small little choices like at a networking event. Do you walk yourself across the room and introduce yourself to that person you've always wanted to meet but have been too intimidated to do so? Or do you hunker down in fear one more time? With your vital behaviors, at the end of the day, you're tired, you're exhausted, you got to pick up the kids. Do you make a few more calls? Or do you just call it a day? You see, these small, seemingly insignificant, moment-to-moment choices add up to big, huge, gargantuan differences in results. Let's just look at it mathematically. If I were to give you the option of a small, single copper penny that doubles every day for 31 days, or $1 million in cash money right now, how many people are going to pick the $1 million in cash? Tough crowd. Okay, let me sweeten this offer up a little bit here. Penny doubles every day for 31 days. $2 million net present value cash right now. How many people are going to pick the $2 million in cash? We've got a few takers. Now there's a time when this math's going to turn on you here now, right? So you got to figure that out. Penny doubles every day for 31 days. $3 million cash money right now. How many people take the $3 million in cash? Okay, let's just say that you took the clue of the little things, add up the big, and you go, I'm going with the penny. Have no idea about, I'm just going with that penny thing. But your neighbor, your buddy, picked the $3 million in cash. Let's just see how this works out over time. So now, 5 days down the line, your copper penny is worth 16 cents. Meanwhile, your neighbor is partying like a rock star. All you can hear is the bass. And the screams and the mariachi, Mardi Gras beads going, right? And you got a handful of pennies. 10 days down the line, your penny is worth a paltry $5.12. You can't even go to McDonald's for a Happy Meal, and they're on the yacht with Robin Leach having champagne wishes and caviar drinks. Take it down to 20 days, and your penny's a lousy $5,200 against their $3 million in cash. But on day 31, that measly penny turns into $10,737,000 against their paltry, measly $3 million in cash. You see, this is the reason why Einstein called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. Because the math between day 1 and day 31 is exactly the same math. The math doesn't change. But it's the compound effect that multiplies that terrific result. This is the reason why I call compound choices the eighth wonder of the success world. Because the choice you're making between day 1 and day 2, that small, seemingly insignificant choice, is the same small, seemingly insignificant choice between day 30 and day 31. But the consequences, the compound effect of that is massive by comparison. And so it is all those small, seemingly insignificant, vital behaviors each day, moment to moment. Here's what I want to do for you. I am so committed to helping ignite these principles that I know that today I can excite your mind, but we're not going to change